Marathons or triathlons? How do you go from just running to completing the full Ironman race?
Ironman is the longest one as a single day event. There
Yeah,
are
true.
triathlons even longer than the Ironman, but they go over 2, 3, 4 days or
Yeah.
whatnot. You can go for a half Ironman, you can go for an Olympic distance, which is significantly shorter than an Ironman, or you can simply go for a sprint triathlon, or the shortest triathlon, they call it try a try. So it's,
Okay.
I don't know, it's
Try,
400
try.
meters
It's nice.
swim, 10 kilometers bike, and 2 kilometers run. It's a great experience, and you can do it pretty much on any kind of bike.
What do you do in the morning before the race?
What I always do before a race, and this is valid not only for Ironman, for any race. The morning of the race, I do a mental preparation session where I just stay there, sit down actually, and with my eyes closed and visualize my ideal race, how it's going to unravel. Getting in the water, do the swim, get out of the water, run to the transition area, grab my bike gear bag, go in the tent,
Mm-hmm.
put my shoes on, jersey, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, I see myself on the bike, climbing hills, going hard on the flats and so on, and back to the transition, getting my run gear bag,
Mm-hmm.
quickly play a change. So I do, I do believe in visualization. It's a very powerful process because if you can see yourself successfully completing the race, then there are chances that you won't do it. You have to believe in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
What is the pacing strategy?
Ironman and any long distance race, it's a lot about pacing because if you
Mm-hmm.
go too hard too soon, things can deteriorate very, very quickly and very, very badly. That's why on the bike is always a good idea to gauge your power output because the power output indicates that you can sustain a pace for the entire duration
Mm-hmm.
of the bike speed and leave enough strength in your legs to run the marathon. You can go a lot. I could have gone for sure a lot harder on the bike, but then when I started the marathon, I would have felt completely demolished.
These and many other questions we go over in our deep dive with Adrian Constantinescu about all things Ironman, who recently came back from Wisconsin and completed his Ironman number 5. This was a very, very insightful conversation, and I hope you enjoyed because I certainly did, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Here we go. All right, hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Vlad Majewski, and I'm here with Adrian Constantinescu. Adrian is an inspiration of mine. We met about 5 years ago, and thanks to Adrian, I became a runner as I am today. And I've always been curious about how Ironman race is happening. And recently, Adrian completed another of his Ironman races, and I would say it was very, very epic and fantastic result. So I invited Adrian to my channel to talk about these experiences, and I'm hoping that everyone will enjoy this conversation. Hi, Adrian. I congratulate you first of all on finishing your fifth Ironman. It's an incredible number. How are you feeling today? That's some time already passed. How are you feeling?
Hi, Vlad, and first and foremost, thank you for having me. I can't believe it's actually been 5 years since we met. Actually, it happened right before COVID hit, and here we are 5 years later. Um, yeah, this was my fifth Ironman, and I feel great now. I feel excited, and I feel actually very, very grateful that I was able to complete this race, uh, finish strong with no injuries. And that is huge.
Oh, that's amazing. And can you share with everyone what was your result?
So I participated in Ironman Wisconsin, and my result was 11 hours, 37 minutes, and 8 seconds.
Wow, that's incredible. And what was your place in the age group?
So I competed in man 55 to 59 age group, and I finished in ninth place out of 81 participants.
Wow, wow, that's incredible. So for those in the audience who may not know, so what exactly is an Ironman race? Can you describe a little bit?
Well, I guess Ironman is a long distance triathlon, I guess we can call it that way, consisting in a 3.8 kilometer swim, followed by a 180 kilometers bike ride, and finished with a full marathon, 42.2 kilometers. So overall, the entire race is 226 kilometers.
Wow, you know the numbers by heart. That's fascinating.
I guess I should know the numbers, otherwise I'll be in big trouble during the race.
This is mind-boggling distance. It's almost like from Toronto to Kingston. It's so far. Wow. And in a marathon, there's typically a cutoff time, and which is around 6 hours, 6.5 hours, depending on particular race. Are there any cutoff times in Ironman?
Absolutely, there are cutoff times in the swim. Everybody should finish within 2 hours and 20 minutes. Now, races these days don't have a mass start as they did before. There is a stagger start. So the cutoff time is 2 hours and 20 minutes after the last swimmer started the race. You have to be out of the water. If you are far away from the shore, and there is obviously an indication that you won't be able to make the cutoff time, the race organizer will actually come and pull you out of the water. Your day is over. There is also a cutoff time for the bike split, so everybody should be off their bikes by 5 p.m. You miss the cutoff time, you're disqualified from the race. And similar to the swim part, if you are on the course at a distance that it's far enough that it's obviously that you will not make the cutoff time, once again the organizer will come and pull you off the course, and your day is over. And for the overall race, or for the marathon for that matter, which is the last leg of the race, everybody should cross the finish line by midnight. You are there at 12 hours and 1 second. It counts as a DNF, basically. So you have to be right at midnight on the other side of the finish line.
Wow, that is interesting. So if I've been pulled out of the water, can I still continue the bike?
No, they will not allow you to get on the bike. And the same thing, if you miss the cutoff time on the bike, you are not allowed to start the marathon. You're simply out of the race.
I see. So you better train hard so you don't really end up in this situation. Okay.
Yeah, well, there are many things that can happen. You could be very well trained, and you could have, let's say, on the bike split, a huge mechanical. And if you can fix your bike, no matter how well trained you are, you will have to pull out of the race.
True. Yeah, that's fair. So sometimes we need a little bit of luck so nothing like that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder how expensive it is to participate in a race like this.
Well, it's definitely not an inexpensive sport. The prices have gone up throughout the years. It's pretty much nowadays double than what I paid for my first Ironman, which was 14 years ago. More specifically, it's just over $1,000 US for those who really want to find out. But every race has its own price. If you really want to find out, you simply go on the Ironman website and you're gonna find all the information there.
Okay, well, that's pretty substantial financial commitment. I'm coming from the marathon space. I know roughly how much it is to run a marathon race. And you also have to, of course, add all the travel expenses considering where the race happens. So, yeah, so this is quite a bit more than a marathon, probably at least 3 or 4 times. How long ago did you complete your previous Ironman, which was your Ironman number 4?
My Ironman number 4 was back in 2016. It was Ironman Lake Placid. So that basically 9 years ago.
Oh, wow, 9 years. And I understand that you've been injured, sidelined, and you couldn't run, you couldn't compete at all for some time, right?
That is true. Um, in 2018, in the spring of 2018, something happened and I couldn't run anymore. I actually had a hard time walking, so I had to cancel all the races that I was signed up for at that time. And this whole challenge sidelined me for 5 years. During that time, running a marathon seemed something unreachable, out of uh, out of my league, I guess I can say, let alone competing in an Ironman. However, if you never lose hope, you do whatever it takes to get back. And at one point, I managed to start running again. I got on the bike, started swimming again, and 2 years after I started running, I managed to complete in this Ironman.
Wow, wow, that's incredible. And when we met, you were already coming out of this injury, I believe. You just were starting running, as far as I remember, or
I
maybe.
started so from 2018 till 2023.
Oh, yes, yeah, you were still
Yeah, 2023. I
injured.
was still sidelined. Yes.
Mm. And what inspired you to take on the Ironman number 5?
Well, when I started running marathons, I met many people who you also met as well, the Rocky Road runners, and some of them at that time have already participated in a few Ironman races. So I was intrigued. It seemed very interesting to combine three sports in one. And I ended up starting swimming. I ended up purchasing a bike. And I was fortunate enough to have these guys helping me out, because it's always good to speak to someone who already went on the path that you want to go on. There was a lot of knowledge, many things that helped me, rather than making the mistakes that many people do without knowing what they're doing when they don't know what they're doing. So having those guys accelerated the progress.
Oh, yes, I hear you for sure. I mean, even from my experience, I am just a runner. I only do one sport so far, but having guys like yourselves and others from the Rocky Road runners, for example, it really helps. All this experience, we share information, definitely, and even training together. It also motivating and so much better to achieve your goals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And why was the Wisconsin the choice of your last marathon? Why did you choose Wisconsin?
Well, I like to sign up for races that I haven't done before. Wisconsin, for the many reasons. This one was one of them. The other reason, I wanted a hilly course, and Wisconsin was labeled as a hilly course. I wanted a race later in the year, in September. The other races that I've done were in July and August, because I needed more time to train. I wanted a race that was a qualifier for 2026 World Championship in Kona.
Mm,
So all this made me choose Wisconsin. It was a race that located in a drivable distance, so to speak, right? It's
yeah,
still,
this is very important when you can reach it close, especially sometimes remote races you have to buy airplane tickets, and this is great when this is just a car drive away, literally.
yes.
Even though it's pretty long car drive, but still, uh, it definitely helps. And would you be able to get to Kona Championship? And for those who don't know, there is a qualifying. If you achieve certain results in any Ironman, you can qualify for Kona World Championships, ultimate event for all Ironman athletes. And I wonder, the question to you: if you were to qualify in this race, would you be able to get to Kona this year?
So with the result that I had in Wisconsin, I didn't make it to Kona. That was my goal, to qualify for Kona. Um, the
But if you did,
route,
would you be able to already get straight to Kona this year, or would you have to wait for another year?
no, had I qualified this year, I would have gone to Kona the following year in
Ah,
2026. The
okay.
race is early September, while Kona is in October. So because it's so close to Kona, Ironman decided that this race, all the races starting September 1st, are qualified for the following year. All the races before September 1st are the qualifier for the same year. So if the race was in August, then the qualifier would have been for 2025 World Championship.
Okay, I see. Let's go back to the time when you just sign up. How long before your race did you start training?
I guess the training never stops. So you're always in training. You always have a baseline. But I would say with a baseline, or a base, if you have a base,
Base, yes.
it takes about 6 to 7 months of training. Um, yes, you can overtrain as well, but if you are undertrained, it's not good either. So I think 6 months is sort of the minimum that I would go
6 months.
for. 6 months.
No, that's interesting. So, well, my experience is only running a marathon and preparing for a marathon race. And I can tell you that it's usually programs, usually when you have a base, like already Adrian mentioned, would be around 16 weeks. Sometimes it could be shorter, but typically this is kind of magic number. So for Ironman, you have to plan for about 6 months. And is there any structure like blocks? Like in marathon, for example, you typically have training blocks, 4 weeks, and with the last week being a little bit of a step back week where you let your body recover. How is that in Ironman training? Because you also need to train three sports now, not just one. So what is the major difference?
That's true. Uh, there are many training programs. The same way there are many training programs for marathons. The idea is to find the one that works best for you. Um, we all have busy lives, right? We're not professionals. Uh, the amount of time per week that you need to spend training for an Ironman is significantly higher than it is for a marathon. So you got to find the time, maybe I should say, make the time for training. Early morning, sometimes in the evening, sometimes you train twice a day. Um, you start with a certain number of hours, and that volume increases in time. I would say between 10 and 20 hours per week. So at the beginning you would have 10 hours, towards the end close to 20 hours. I
That's
like to
fascinating. Mm-hmm.
I like to keep things simple, so to speak. So I like to do 3 swings, 3 bike rides, and 3 runs every week, with small changes every now and then. Sometimes I do a brick workout, so that includes the bike and the run.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of drills. Um,
I keep hearing this word break. So why is it called break?
well, that's a very good question. Everybody's using it. Everybody knows what it is, but nobody cares where the term came from. And at the end of the day, it's not really important. What it is, it's what's important. So you can do a brick workout, for example. You ride your bike as hard as you can for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Then you get off the bike, quickly put your running shoes on, and run as hard as you can for 10 minutes. Then you take your shoes off, put your bike shoes on, and get on the bike and do the same thing again. 20 to 30 minutes hard riding, and then 10 minutes hard running. And you do this 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, depending on where you are in the training program. And that helps you with the transition in the race, because you will have to run off the bike in any triathlon, including the Ironman.
Interesting. Are there any core workouts? Like, for example, in a marathon, you train, you get your tempo or a hills workout, speed work, and you also get a long run. Are there any key workouts like that in triathlon training, in Ironman training?
Yes, certainly there are some key workouts. I personally aim to have the workouts done at a relatively low heart rate. In a marathon, you can go to up to 75, maybe even 80% of your maximum heart rate, because it's relatively a short duration, between 3 and 3.5 hours. Whereas in a full Ironman, you are way longer out there. So I do my runs basically at the race pace, which is significantly slower than what I would do in a plain marathon. So I maintain a specific heart rate in the training, which would also be my target heart rate in the race. And when it comes to bike, I do, every time I train for an Ironman, I do 4 longer bike rides, and those are between 150 and 160 kilometers. All the other rides are slower, however higher intensity. So I go a lot by the power. I have a power meter on my bike. I know what my FTP, the functional threshold power, is. So when I go on a long bike ride over the weekend, I know what the output target is, and I actually don't even have the speed or any other information on my watch displayed other than power. That's my main goal.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I know how some people, even in running, just look at the heart rate, for example, try not to look at the pace, some different methods of training.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's so power on the bike is, I would say, more relevant than the heart rate, because the terrain varies a lot. For a specific power output on flat, your heart rate is significantly lower than it would be for the same output going uphill.
Gotcha. What about cross training? Cross training probably not really is silly, but if I was to train just for a marathon race or any race, the cross training could also include swimming and cycling. In this situation, you're already doing that. Then we should probably just take care of strengthening and strength training. do you feel that there is a good role in strength training in training for an Ironman?
I am a firm believer that strength training plays an important role, especially after a certain age.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes a big difference. I know that I could have done more strengthening during the training.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Training for an Ironman, but for triathlons in general, it's very, very good for the body because you use different groups of muscle based on the type of training. Like you don't use the same muscle when you're running as you are in swimming.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good for the body, especially that you're giving, let's say in the swim, you're giving your legs a little bit of a break. You're using more your arms than the legs. So I think that there are benefits to this cross training during the Ironman training program.
It makes sense. How you even fit this to your crowded schedule? You have to balance your life. You have to do a lot more training. And how do you even fit across strength training into your schedule? It almost
Well,
feels
it's
impossible.
you have to make the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, strength training during the Ironman training is not a substitute for your designated workouts like swim, bike, and run. You're not replacing any of those. They are on top of those. So I do strength training twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
I have the feeling that if I would go more than that to the gym, I wouldn't recover properly for the next bike ride or for the next run. So you have
Yeah.
to find, again, it's a matter of preference. You have to find what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Everybody's different.
No, for sure. You have to listen to your body. Recovery still will be one of the key factors to account for and to factor into your training because without recovery, without proper sleep, then it's impossible to prepare to any in any sport, let
That's
alone
true.
it's demanding.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And do you feel all the training overall went well for you? You were able to complete what you planned, or were there any setbacks during your training?
I wouldn't say setbacks. However, it's a long time,
Yeah.
6 months, it's half a year, right? And you have no idea how the weather is going to be. Um, this summer we had it extremely hot here in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I did struggle a little bit at times. Being on the bike for 5 hours in extreme heat
Mm-hmm.
takes quite a toll on your body. You can only carry this much fluids with you,
Mm-hmm.
energy drinks and gels for nutrition. Uh, at one point, you have to, before actually, when before the ride, it's a good idea to map your route so you know exactly where you're going and have some uh, break points at the gas station, typically, where you can refuel
Mm.
and get whatever you
Yeah.
need. It's worth taking a 3, 4 minutes quick break to buy some Gatorade or whatever energy drink you're
Mm-hmm.
accustomed to. Otherwise, uh, you might end up bonking or who knows.
Yeah.
And it's worth looking after yourself. It's worth it.
No, absolutely. Okay, that's interesting. And you not only have to be prepared to ride in the heat, also you have to be prepared to ride in the rain or in any conditions, right? Is a
Yeah.
race canceled if it's a rain?
No, typically they don't get canceled
Mm-hmm.
unless there is something really, really out of the ordinary, like
Right.
extreme lightning and thunders, and the rain is so heavy that visibility is not there. So whenever the organizer decides that
Mm-hmm.
it's a safety thing, then they may cancel it, but usually they don't.
Yeah, and I also heard that sometimes they cancel swim in case of
Yeah,
dangerous waters.
the swim is has been canceled many times if there are heavy winds and You get actually waves in the water.
Yeah.
Once again, it's not safe, so there is no point. They cancel the swim, but the race goes on only with the bike split and the run split.
Mm-hmm. Was there any favorite part in your training, or what was there anything that you hated the most?
Well, I can say that I hate any uh, part of the training. I can say what my favorite, but my favorite part has always been riding my bike and running. I started as a runner,
Mm-hmm.
and then I picked up biking and swimming because it's part of the Ironman. So I said, okay, I guess I have to get in the pool and start swimming, learn a thing or two. There is a lot of room for improvement when it comes to my swimming,
Mm-hmm.
and that's perhaps what I want to do when when I'll train for my next race, to work
Mm-hmm.
with a coach to help me out to improve my swimming.
Mm.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that I hate it. It's just not my favorite part. I'm looking forward to getting out of the water so the
Mm.
actual race starts for me.
Understandable. So let's say I want to start training for an Ironman, on for anybody who might consider this. What are the essential pieces of gear an athlete really needs, or maybe something maybe with an extra upgrade, nice to haves. But what are the essential pieces? I believe for running, you can say it's just a pair of shoes, typically a t-shirt. Although we all know that when it comes to running all season, then you have to get all different kind of shoes, all different kind of t-shirts for different weather and everything. I would imagine for Ironman. So what kind of gear do we need for an Ironman?
Well, that's true. You need gear for all three sports. So it's a little bit more than a pair of running shoes, shorts and pair of shorts and a t-shirt. Uh, for swimming, wetsuits. No, wetsuits are
Mm-hmm.
not mandatory,
Uh-huh.
but I would strongly recommend wearing a wetsuit. They typically make you a little bit faster in the water
Mm-hmm.
because they give you lots of buoyancy. They also keep you warm if the water is a little bit cold. Um, you also need a pair of goggles, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not mandatory, but strongly recommended. It helps a lot if you can keep your eyes open. I usually buy tinted goggles because the swim is
Mm-hmm.
always early in the morning. Typically, Ironman starts at 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun is barely up and it hits the water, it reflects off of the water. And if you don't have tinted lenses on your goggles, it's very, very difficult to see where you're going. So sighting
Right.
is, it can become a real challenge.
Right.
Of course, you need to wear a tri shorts under
Mm.
the wetsuit because when you get out of the water in an Ironman, they have volunteers helping you to take off your wetsuit, and if you're not wearing anything underneath, that's going to be a problem.
I thought you could just wear normal jammers or something, but
Well, you want to wear your tri shorts because you want to minimize the time that you spend in the transition area. You want to get on the bike as soon as you can.
okay, okay.
And these are the things that you need in a race. Um, the tri shorts, the wetsuit, swimming cap
Swimming
uh,
cap
will be
and
given to you by the organizers with your big
mm,
number written on it, and your goggles. Now,
well,
in training,
for the organizer who still needs to get to the race, but when you're training, you're still not
yeah,
way off from that.
for training, I wear a swimming cap
Yeah.
because if I go for open water swim and it's sunny, I get sunburn on my head. So I have to wear a swimming cap, even though people make fun of me. Well, your hair is gonna get wet, but it's not about that. It's more about getting used to having the swimming cap on because in a race it's mandatory to wear it. So you want to simulate in training all the race conditions
Right.
that you have to follow. Right now, for training purposes, I also wear a swim buoy. just to make
Mm-hmm.
myself visible in the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you swim in a bigger lake, many people go up north of the cottage, and if there are motorboats in the on the lake, then it's very very important to make yourself visible. I have a neon yellow buoy,
Mm-hmm.
very very visible from the distance, or others have it orange. The
Mm-hmm.
matter. It's just make sure that you make yourself visible to avoid any unfortunate
Mm-hmm.
acts.
Gotcha. Okay, so you need four items: wetsuit, of course, and a swimming cap, and goggles, and well, tri shorts, right?
Try
Did I
shots,
miss
yeah.
anything? Yes. Okay, now we go to the bike.
Well, the bike is a little bit more complicated. The bike is expensive, especially these days. They became more expensive due to
Mm-hmm.
the supply chain and all the stuff that happened during COVID. Um, Luckily, you only have to buy the bike once, and it's going to last for many, many, many years. But you have to have a good bike, uh, a bike that you feel comfortable sitting on it, riding it. It has to be the right size. A
Mm-hmm.
good idea is to get properly fitted on a bike. So you have to find someone who knows what they're doing so they can fit you in such a way that you get the maximum power out of the bike.
And this is actually, I want to point out, very, very important. And so this summer, since I'm right now still recovering from my running injury, I started cycling with Adrian, also in with other friends. And I found sometimes that if you sit incorrectly, then you can have, for example, pains in your arms because you're putting too much pressure on your arms, or you could have pains somewhere in your on your legs as well, or in hamstrings. So this is super important to have a right size of bike and for it to be fitted properly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Especially if you're planning on participating in an Ironman or even in a half Ironman, where the bike is 90 kilometers rather than 180, it's still you will still spend quite a bit of time on the bike,
Yeah.
and if you're not comfortable, you're getting tired a lot faster. You may get, or you may overwork certain muscles and so on, and then when you have to start the run, you will be in not a good shape to
Mm-hmm.
perform well in a marathon.
Right. So yeah, bike, helmet, I believe, right?
Bike, helmet, and
The
with the bike,
shoes.
you can go crazy with the bike. You can buy carbon wheels. You can buy a power meter. You can get Di2 shifting, which is electronic shifting. You just press a button and you shift gears. You can buy an aero helmet. There is never a shortage of gadgets that you can get
Yeah.
if you believe that it will help you to get faster.
Right.
You have to have bottle cages, so you carry your own hydration
Mm-hmm.
bottles, especially in training
Mm-hmm.
and also in the race. I like using an aero bottle. I do have a triathlon bike, so I have aero bars in the
Mm-hmm.
front, and my aero bottle is sitting in between the aero bars, and that helps me to easily drink fluids without reaching down to the frame and grabbing the bottle and holding the bottle in my hand.
Right. So we're just talking the equipment on what you're riding, but we should not forget also what we're putting on because it's also a bit different from what you're running in, and of course, with what
Yeah,
what you're swimming in. So, for example, my question to you is: are the tri shorts also padded shorts?
the tri shorts are padded shorts. However, the
Mm,
padding is not as thick as it is on regular cycling
mm,
shorts. So the tri shorts you use in the water, you use on the bike, and you also use in the marathon. So
right.
it's the whole race. You're using the same shorts. Now, uh, many participants make the decision that after getting out of the water, they want to start the bike ride completely dry. So they have the opportunity in the tent. There is a tent for men and a tent for women where you are allowed to get naked. So you can completely change, put new shorts, new tri-top, whatever you want. However, this is on your time. So it adds up to your final time. The more time you spend in the transition, the more it will impact your finish time.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. And now we go, of course, if we continue with the run, everybody roughly know what running gear is. However, if you're transitioning from your bike leg to the running, do you change or you almost have the same kind of gear?
So after the bike, I only take my cycling shoes off, my helmet, put my running shoes on, my glasses, and my running cap. And and you have to put your bib belt with your bib number on. And then I'm ready to start the marathon. You can carry gels with you if you want. However, the aid stations in a marathon are every 2 to 3 kilometers, so it's very well designed so that people don't necessarily have to carry their own, just unless the gels that they offer on the course don't work for you, right? If you know that you get an upset stomach with the particular brand, then you should bring your own gels and do your own nutrition.
Right. Well, okay, that's so much to really digest. If you want to start doing that, you have to do all this gear for the swimming, and the bike becomes pretty also expensive with the bike itself, the helmet, the shoes, the shorts, the jersey, I guess, the bottles and everything. And some probably safety equipment on it as well, right? So like some flashlights or some kind of bike lights, as far as I remember. So there's minor details you can keep on adding all that, and standard running stuff. Okay, so now I know what it needs to be to at least getting started. And well, let's move on to our race finally, because this is what I want to talk about, your actual experience, because we covered a lot what Ironman is, what the distance is, the cutoff times. We covered all this gear that's required for you to have when you're preparing, and also we covered the training, how the training goes. And interesting, putting it all together. Now you're ready. You're ready for your race. Race time, race week is coming. Race day is coming. Super exciting. Now, how did you like when the race week came? So did you feel ready? Like what were going through your head?
Well, you have to be ready by the time the race day comes. You will be as ready as you can be. So you got to do your best anyway. What I always do before a race, and this is valid not only for Ironman, for any race. The morning of the race, I do a mental preparation session where I just stay there, sit down actually, and with my eyes closed and visualize my ideal race, how it's going to unravel. Getting in the water, do the swim, get out of the water, run to the transition area, grab my bike gear bag, go in the tent, put my shoes on, jersey, whatever. And then, I see myself on the bike, climbing hills, going hard on the flats and so on, and back to the transition, getting my run gear bag, quickly play a change. So I do believe in visualization. It's a very powerful process, because if you can see yourself successfully completing the race, then there are chances that you won't do it. You have to believe in yourself, right? So that's what I do first thing in the morning. And there is obviously a level of nervousness. I mean, if you're not nervous, it means that you don't care, right? So,
Yeah.
but I always want to do a good job. I want to be the best that I can possibly be. I think that there is always someone out there who's faster than you. There is
Yeah.
always someone who's slower than you. I
You're
think
competing against yourself.
it's you
It's
against
always, yeah.
yourself. Yeah, it's you against yourself. And if the result, your result is better than the other people in your race, even better. But it's a matter of
Hmm. Hmm.
being the best you can possibly be in that day. The nervousness, I would say in my case, goes away fairly quickly once the race started, and I get a certain rhythm in the water. Then I'm focusing on my stroke, do my sighting, so the nervousness goes away fairly quickly, and then you have to take every like step by step.
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Really, the mental visualization. I think I should probably incorporate that into my marathon race preparation, or maybe when I have an Ironman race.
Yeah.
Remember
Well,
that
there are so many different distances when it comes to triathlons, right?
for sure.
Ironman is the longest one as a single day event. There
Yeah,
are
true.
triathlons even longer than the Ironman, but they go over 2, 3, 4 days or
Yeah.
whatnot. You can go for a half Ironman, you can go for an Olympic distance, which is significantly shorter than an Ironman, or you can simply go for a sprint triathlon, or the shortest triathlon, they call it try a try. So it's,
Okay.
I don't know, it's
Try,
400
try.
meters
It's nice.
swim, 10 kilometers bike, and 2 kilometers run. It's a great experience, and you can do it pretty much on any kind of bike. You don't have to have a fancy bike
Yeah. Yeah.
necessarily.
Sure enough. Okay, so you are arriving to Wisconsin. How long before the race did you arrive?
So we arrived in Wisconsin on Thursday,
Which
and the race
is
was on Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, three
So a
days.
few days. I wanted to, give myself as much time as possible to rest. There is only 1 hour time zone difference, so that wasn't a big deal.
Oh, this one. Mm-hmm.
However, I don't want to rush myself. You have to go to on site to register. Like, I shouldn't say register, to sign in, because you are already registered for the race, but you have to go sign in. You get your strap with your bib
Uh-huh.
number on your wrist. You pick up your racing kit. They
Right.
give you 5 bags. Each bag has a specific role. One bag is for the morning clothes. So
Mm.
when you go on site, right before you put your wetsuit on, you have to get undressed, put the clothes in the bag, and you give the bag to the organizer. So at the end of
Mm.
the race, you go and pick it up. There is a bag for your bike gear. That's where the helmet, the shoes, anything that you want to take with you on the bike is in this bag. There is a third bag containing the run gear, where you
Mm-hmm.
have everything related to your running shoes, your uh, sunglasses, your cap,
Mm-hmm.
gels, your bib number, everything that you're gonna have on you in the run. And there are 2 special needs bag, one special need bag for the bike and one special needs bag for the run. In the bags, in these 2 bags, you can put anything that you need, knowing that it's not available on the course. Right?
Mm.
Some people want to have, let's say, Advils. They don't have Advils on the course. You can put them in a bag. Maybe you want to have a specific sandwich that you want to eat. Anything that you want for the bike and it's not available on the course, you can put it on the special needs bag, and they will take it on the course, on the bike course, at a specific kilometer marker. They will tell you where the bag is. And when you
Mm-hmm.
pass that area, You can stop, get your bag, do whatever you need to do, and continue your bike. And the same goes for the run part. So there
Wow.
is a little bit of logistics involved,
I would
and
say quite a bit of logistics.
you have to have this mental movie. Knowing I get
Hmm.
out of the water, I run that way, I get in the room, my bag
Mm.
is on the third row towards the
Hmm.
end. All the bags are lined up on the floor in ascending order by your bib number. So you have to
Okay.
remember your bib number. It might sound funny, but people get out of the water, they don't know where left and right is, and they totally forget their bib number.
That
So
would be me. That would be me.
you have to know exactly where to go and what to do in every part of the race. Now the course, you don't have to memorize the course; it's almost impossible. But the courses are very, very well marked, and they have a lot of
Hmm.
volunteers. Actually, they told us in Wisconsin they had just over 3,000 volunteers in
Wow.
the water, in the transition area, on the bike course, in the marathon.
And how many
Plus,
competitors?
well, that's a good question. A couple of thousand. I don't even remember exactly,
So,
but there were
so
more
each,
volunteers, more volunteers than the actual athletes. Right? But
well,
that's what it takes to have a race very well organized, where athletes feel safe, knowing that at any moment somewhere somebody is nearby, someone is nearby, and they can call for help. There are also motorcycles on the course, official motorcycles with uh, bike tech
mm,
support. If you have a
right.
flat tire and maybe you have the second flat tire and now you don't have a spare tube, you don't have a CO2 cartridge, and you can't fix the bike anymore. If you're lucky enough to have the service tech close by, then you get your bike fixed fairly quickly and you're back in business.
So you have to be kind of also a little bit of a mechanic too, knowing how to fix the
Well,
bike in case something happens.
in during the 6 months of training, you should definitely get very, very
Hmm.
familiar with the bike, how to replace a tube if your bike has wheels with tubes. There
Hmm.
are bikes that have tubeless wheels, so you don't have to have it. But regardless of what technology you're using, you have to be familiar and know how to fix it in case bad luck
Hmm.
happens in the race. Now, even if you don't get a flat during the training program, I still think it's a good idea at one point. Just take the
Hmm.
wheel off the bike, release the air, get the lever, remove the tire, get the tube out, put it back in.
Hmm.
Just practice the same
Right.
procedure that you would do in the race. Because once again, in the race, you are stressed. You want
Yeah.
to do it faster, as fast as possible. And if you
Yeah.
haven't done it before, you're going to struggle a lot and you're going to panic, you're
Mm.
going to lose too much time, going to be frustrated, and so on.
Mm. So you came to Wisconsin by yourself, or did you have a support team?
No, I had a support team. My wife came
Hmm.
with me,
Hmm.
my biggest supporter, and we have another friend that came with us.
Hmm.
It's always good to have somebody supporting you. It's always great to see familiar faces
Yeah.
on the side of the course, whether it's on the
Hmm.
bike or on the run. It's always good to have somebody there. The moral support
Hmm.
matters a lot.
Can they pass something to you during the race? Are there any rule restricting that?
No, the rules in Ironman are very strict.
Hmm.
If you go for a local race, an Olympic disc or a sprint triathlon, I don't think anybody would say anything.
Hmm.
However, in an Ironman, you are not allowed to get any help from a spectator. Uh, Nobody is allowed to even run with you a little bit or to ride the bike on the side of the course while you're running.
Oh,
This is not accepted. If you do that, then the athlete is at high risk of being disqualified. And that's the last thing
right.
you want to do, to get disqualified because somebody
Hmm.
helped you or somebody gave you a gel or somebody helped you to fix the bike. Only the authorized personnel from Ironman is allowed to help you fix the bike or with any other matter Otherwise, you get disqualified.
Well, that's fascinating. And when you arrived, how far did you stay from the starting or the finish line? What was it important? Where you pick it?
We booked a hotel about 20 minutes away, 20 minutes of driving. However, I have to say that the whole layout, Madison in itself, the city was fabulous. We just simply loved it there. And what Ironman did, they had a parking lot at one convention center, which was, I would say, 5-6 minutes drive from the start line, from where the race site was, and we were allowed to park there. Very inexpensive parking, and they had uh, buses, like school buses, taking the athletes from the parking lot to the race site and back, basically the whole day, back and forth the whole day. You could even get your car out, in and out privileges, no problem.
And
So it
support
was very,
teams
very
also
well.
would support. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody park there and take the bus to the start line.
That's
It was very,
fantastic.
very well done.
Well, that's really helpful for sure. Then your support team can also take advantage of this. Well, okay, now the actual race day. Do you remember it vividly?
Of course, I remember it vividly. It was just a couple of weeks ago.
So what time did you have to wake up?
We woke up at 4:45.
What
We
is
sort of did the math, right? How long is it there? Do we have a little bit of breakfast and so on?
You had the breakfast. And the race starts, what time race starts?
The race started at 7.
7.
However, it was a stagger start, so not everybody started at 7. I think within 25 minutes, everybody was in the water. The way they organized the start was they had waves based on your predicted finish time.
Right.
There were people who said, I'm able to swim the distance in less than an hour. So then it's self-seeded. Then it was an hour and 15. I seeded myself at 1:15 to 1:30. And so on. And once you're in the water, you do the best you can, you come out of the water. But everybody was there for 7 o'clock, regardless
So
of.
you had to be there at 7.
You have to be there at 7. Before the race, you are allowed to get in the transition area where your bike is. By the way, the bikes have to be checked in the day before the race. It's a mandatory thing. By 6 p.m., all the bikes must be in the transition area.
Right.
You don't bring the bike the morning of the race. If you missed the deadline, Saturday 6 p.m., then there is no race for you.
Oof.
I've never heard anybody missing the deadline, but they couldn't emphasize it more how important this is, especially after you did your training, you pay the registration fee, you are there, and then you don't bring the bike on time. It's heartbreaking.
Right.
However, in the morning of the race, you are allowed to go in the transition area where your bike is. You can put air in the tires, you can put your bottles with your hydration, make sure that everything is okay. And then you go to the start of the swim. And by the way, the bikes, each bike has a specific spot. All the racks are marked with the bib number. So my bike goes under my bib number. There is no debate. Nobody can say, I want to put my bike here. It doesn't exist, right? It's designated spot for each bike.
Cool.
And you also have access to your bike gear bags and your run gear bag. If you want to add, you want to take something out, whatever, you can do that before the morning of the race.
Oh, I see. So coming back to the early morning and the breakfast, I think you also started mentioning about what kind of food, what would you eat, like how heavy, can you share what exactly you had for your breakfast?
So I eat a lot the night before. And even before this race, I ate pasta and meatballs. Sounds a little cliche, but I guess most people do that.
Mm.
the so-called carbo loading. So in the morning of the race, I don't feel hungry at all. I guess it's also the nervousness as well. But I do have some oatmeal, maybe even a light sandwich.
Mhm.
It's very tricky. You have to know what works for you, obviously. The only difference is that when you do practice this in training, you can simulate the nervousness so that you have on the race day, right? So I usually eat a little bit less than what I eat before a long bike ride in the training, because
Right.
in the training I'm not nervous. Right?
Okay.
But I do eat something. I take a gel before the swim, like 15, 20
Hmm.
minutes before the swim,
Hmm.
take a sip of water or a little bit of energy drink,
Yeah, makes
and that's it. And the race
makes
starts.
sense. Makes sense. So, how was the weather and how was the atmosphere?
Oh,
What? Hmm.
the weather was a concern for me.
Hmm.
The previous races that I've done were the weather was very very warm. This race, because it was in September, the mornings were quite chilly,
Hmm.
and we had actually 6 degrees air temperature. Uh, the water temperature was higher, was 19.5 degrees Celsius, still pretty chilly. The wetsuit helped a lot to keep us warm, but the shock that you get when you get in the water for the first time, it's a little bit intimidating, right? I'm very sensitive in my fingers with the cold
Hmm.
weather. At 5 degrees or 6 degrees, I already wear some thin gloves. If I run, I can't go without gloves because my fingers get really, really, really cold.
Hmm.
So I wore actually 2 swimming caps. I brought my own swimming cap, and then on top of that cap, I put the cap given by the organizer with my bib number. That was a good choice.
Hmm.
Now, typically, when I start the race, I wear my tri shorts and my tri top under the
Hmm.
wetsuit. And when I get out of the water, I get rid of the wetsuit and I'm going to the transition, put my helmet, my back shoes, and
Hmm.
I'm ready to jump on the bike. Now, because it was this cold in the morning, I made the decision not to wear the tri-top because starting the bike ride at low temperature with a wet tri-top perhaps would have been a bad choice. I would have gotten really, really cold. So I
Hmm.
decided to put on a top in the transition area. Now, this didn't go as well as I hoped because my fingers were cold. I was shivering. I couldn't get the zipper to work. Volunteer came, tried to help me. He couldn't do it, and I finally managed to get the two sides of the zipper together. And I asked the volunteer to pull the key up, and so on. So
Hmm.
this costed me a little bit of time.
Right.
And also, I had a little hiccup with the helmet. The visor fell actually twice in the transition. So yeah, this was an unfortunate situation, but
Hmm.
I managed to finally get out of the tent and get into the actual transition area where the bikes were, get my bike and start the ride. I also
Hmm.
used arm warmers and
Hmm.
gloves, also very good choice. And I had a plastic bag under the top that acted as a windbreaker.
Hmm.
So
That is interesting.
yeah, it was a decision that I took the night before, given
Hmm.
the weather conditions.
Given the expectation, of course. How did the swim go? What was the time and how did
The
it go
swim,
overall?
the swim was 2 loops.
Two
Um,
loops.
2 loops. The first loop went very well. I did a pace that I was expecting to do. The same pace that I did back in July when I did a half Ironman race in
Hmm.
Muskoka. So it was the same pace. However, the second loop was significantly slower. Now I don't know. I felt that the wind picked up and the water became a little bit choppy. At times I swallowed some water here and there. Not very happy with that, but it happens.
Was it the
Uh,
fresh water? Was it the fresh water or
yeah,
so?
it was Lake
Lake?
Morona.
Hmm.
There were quite a bit of swimmers in beside me, around me. Sometimes I got elbowed, kicked. Sometimes I kicked other swimmers because it's a race,
Yeah.
nothing personal, right?
Hmm.
So I was a bit slower than I expected coming out of the water, but nevertheless, I never had any moment after I looked at my watch and said, "Well, this is not the time I wanted, and I'm not gonna bother right
Hmm.
now." I always go out full out, do my best, regardless of what happens in the water, in the swim, or on the bike. I do my best. So
Hmm.
I ran to the transition area. I got
Hmm.
my bike gear
Hmm.
and had those C-cups that I mentioned, and then managed to start the bike ride.
So what was the time in the swim?
My time was 1 hour and 30
1 hour
minutes.
and 30
I
minutes.
think
Oh.
this was like 2:22 pace or something like that.
Mm.
2:22.
For me, it is still feeling very, very fast, but I know that some swimmers could be way too faster, but there are some swimmers could be that way too longer.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
are you allowed to swim any style?
Well, of course, you can swim any stroke, you can do breaststroke if you want, whatever you feel
Uh-huh.
comfortable. However, it's been proven that freestyle is
Freestyle.
the fastest
Hmm.
style, and everybody wants to get out of the water as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Now you ran to transition area. You're trying to do it fast. They don't stop the clock when you get out of the water, right between the legs. So
No,
they count
no.
all the time.
So the time you spend in a transition counts towards your overall time.
Hmm.
And different races have different transition areas. Right? So the, the the system is the same for all races. You swim, you get to the turn, you get your bike, go for your bike ride, and then back into transition, and then you go for the. However, the transition uh, site is different from race to race. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer.
Hmm.
This particular in Madison was very, very long. So we had a long run from the water into the transition, and then you have to run around the parking lot where all the bikes were. So that way,
Hmm.
every athlete gets to cover the same distance in the transition area. I could have gone in the middle of the parking lot to get to my bike ride, but that was not allowed.
Right, right, right. And you run bare feet, right? You don't have any
Yeah, you
can't put
run
any shoes.
barefoot.
Hmm.
If you want to get out of the water, you can leave there on site running shoes and then take the time to
Ah,
put them on and run. But nobody does that because it only adds time to your overall race time.
oh, gotcha, gotcha. Oh.
And some races, even here, we had a little bit coming out of the water. There was a mat, like a sort of a carpet. So
Hmm.
you run a little bit of carpet, but then it's just concrete and asphalt to the
Oh,
transition.
right. Okay. Okay. And then you are in transition area. You had your fingers frozen. I know that there was a little bit of a difficulty, but then eventually you managed and you are on the bike. So how did the bike go? What was the strategy for the bike?
My strategy for the bike was to um, be as consistent as possible with the power output. However, this is not 100% realistic because Wisconsin is quite a hilly course, and I wanted a hilly course. That's why I picked this race. So when you go uphill, of course, you're generating more power to push the bike. So there are areas where you go above the power output that you would want. So you got to be very careful not to burn too many matches on the
Right.
bike. So my goal was to stay anywhere between 190 and 195 watts. That was my target power output.
Mm.
And that's what I did. I managed to do that. Um, and I was quite happy. I would have liked to be a little bit faster, but I guess that's always the case. We all want to be a little
Hmm.
bit
Oh.
faster. The course itself was very scenic. However, there
Hmm.
were many areas on the course where the surface were very, very rough.
Mm-hmm.
I like that the organizer did a good job using that bright orange spray paint to mark all the potholes and all the areas where you needed to pay more attention.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I found it at times everybody had to slow down, especially going downhill on the rough road. It's not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I like the scenery a lot.
Oh,
You get to see a lot. It's all up and down, and then a little bit through the city.
do you even have time to enjoy it? If
Well,
you're not in density, sometimes you may even just focus on what's in front of you.
you gotta find a little bit, uh, you know, the mental aspect in the sense that you gotta pay attention to the surroundings to distract you a little bit from the pain that you're going through, right? Even
And
if
of
it's for a
course,
split second.
yeah, and of course, there's a lot of pain at some point. And is this two loops also, like a swim, or
It's
is it just a single?
it's two loops. Uh, they actually called it a lollipop
Uh,
because
I,
you start from the transition area, you go for I think about 16 kilometers or so, and then you start a loop and start the second loop, and then you go back on the same stretch of 16 kilometers. So it does look sort of like a lollipop.
mm,
Two loops, I guess, for the organizer is a lot more convenient. They don't have to block that many roads. They don't have to have that many aid stations.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it makes more sense
Yeah. Yeah.
to
And
have
then you
those.
probably, after completing one loop, you already prepared. And the next time you know, oh, that there will be this kind of turn, this kind of
Yeah,
hill.
you get to learn the course a little bit, and it's
That
always a good
helps.
feeling. It's always a good feeling when you uh, get to the end of the second loop and then you see the road split. One arrow says second loop, the other arrow says towards transition area.
Mm,
So it helps to mention, okay, now finally I'm done with the
and,
second loop.
you
I
know,
go left, and before I know it, it's done and onto the marathon.
yeah, that's cool. And how do you even eat on the course? I always was wondering. You 5 hours,
So
you're probably already hungry after you swim, and then you already have to have some kind of food and gels. It's hard to just feed on the gels the whole day. How do you eat? And what
well,
do you eat?
once again, it's a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's different. I personally have to have solid food, so I prepare myself sandwiches. I have typically bread with peanut butter and banana, and I put it in the pockets on my tri-top. I also carry gels with me.
But how do you get those sandwiches into your biking area or transition area if you have to check in everything a couple of days in advance or one day in
So
advance? You have to make sure it's not getting spoiled, right?
no, but if you remember the morning of the race, you are
Mm-hmm.
allowed to get in the transition area. You
Right,
have access to your bags. So all the nutrition and the hydration I brought with me the morning of the race. I went to
right,
the bike. I put my bottles with my energy drinks. I went to the bike gear bag. I put my sandwiches in the bag. The just everything that I wanted was there uh, only in the morning of the race,
right.
right?
Interesting. I can't imagine eating on wild. Do you have to stop when you eat, or it's a matter of just training and practice? You can do it on the go.
You don't have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
You can if you choose to, but it's going to be on your time,
Yeah,
of
penalty,
course. I don't.
self-inflicted penalty.
I've never seen anybody on the side of the road eating. Everybody does it on the bike, and then again, that's why the training rides are for
Mm-hmm.
endurance, of course, but also for practicing doing your nutrition and hydration while you're riding. So I typically get the sandwich out of my pocket. It's wrapped in foil, and I'm in aero bars, so my hands are more or less free, so I can unwrap it and I take a bite. I chew it a little bit, and then I have the aero bottle right there beside me or in front of me. I
Mm.
take a sip of the energy drink to make the whole bread softer. so it's easier to chew and to get it in your stomach.
Right, right. Okay, that's another aspect of Ironman training when you're not just training your paces, your power and endurance being long time on the bike. You also have to train eating, taking in nutrition, and train your stomach as well. What it is that
Yeah.
you can have. Yeah, that's a long process, of course, but it's a very necessary if you want to get to the finish line faster. Okay, and what was your bike time? What was you were you satisfied with your bike? How did you do?
The bike was 5 hours and 53 minutes, or 5 hours 52 actually. Yeah, a bit slower than what I was hoping for, but nevertheless, I'm still happy with the time. I think I had the eighth fastest split in my age group.
Oh, that's
So I'm
amazing.
pretty happy.
That's amazing. And I believe you were able to advance many spots ahead after your swim, right? So what was your
Well,
age group place after your swim?
out of the water, I was 60 out of 81, so I was
60.
really in
Wow.
the back.
So you passed a lot of people on the bike. Wow,
Yeah.
that's very impressive. Very impressive. And there was final transition. And now what's more familiar to me is a marathon. Although what is unfamiliar completely to me is how do you get to run a marathon after you've already been in that intensity for
Yeah.
7 hours? Like, how can you do it? What was in your head? Like
The
how?
marathon, well, I knew what to expect, having done a few Ironmans before. The legs feel like cooked noodles. Um, However, there is something very interesting going on, right? Because at one point you get into a rhythm. Like I knew that this was going to happen. You get into a rhythm, get into a pace, and you take it one step at a time, so to speak. Now, what happened this time? Um, I think my feet were a bit swollen from the bike, and the shoes were not that comfortable. Like I felt that they felt too tight, and my blood circulation in the feet was not the best. To the point where I actually had to stop and adjust the laces because I'm using elastic laces. Pretty much everybody does it in a triathlon, so that you don't have to take the time in the transition area tying the knot. You just put them like slip on, basically, the shoes. But they felt very uncomfortable, so I had to stop. I actually had to stop twice. I adjusted them for a little bit. It seemed a little bit better, but then a couple of kilometers later, I had to stop again and readjust the laces. And for whatever reason, my lower back was very stiff right at the beginning of the race. But at one point, it went away, the whole stiffness, as if nothing ever happened.
Right. Wow. Well, I know you as a very fast runner. You managed in the past to run sub 3 hour marathons. How the marathon running different in a triathlon? What was your pacing plan and what are typically expectations compared to running just a marathon or marathon as part of the Ironman race?
So for the Ironman, as I mentioned in the beginning, my training runs, my long training runs in the Ironman training were all basically at my target race pace, lower heart rate, and aiming for a 3:45 marathon.
Okay.
Maybe even faster if everything went well, right? But 3:45 was my target.
What translates to what kind of pace? What the pace is?
About 5:25.
5:25 minutes per kilometer.
Yeah. So I was aiming somewhere between 5:20 and 5:25. Didn't work out that well.
You were
Because
pretty
of the
close, right? You were pretty close.
I was close, and I think had I not had the problems with the laces and with the lower back, I would have probably hit that target. But nevertheless, I was happy with the run. It was a fairly hilly course, and I knew that because you can do your own research about every race, right?
Mm.
But it went fairly well. I always like the marathon in the Ironman because it's not the same intensity that it is when you run a plain marathon. You get to see a lot in the city. Like I've seen more than my support team because I run a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice way to do some sightseeing
Mm.
in during the race.
Right. Did you feel like bonking at any time, any moment during running
No,
your
no.
marathon? No?
Actually, I felt strong throughout
Mm-hmm.
the run. Never had any feeling of
Mm-hmm.
lightheadedness
Okay, dizziness, right?
or any kind of weakness. I did get gels and energy drinks at literally
Mm-hmm.
every single aid station.
No solid
Uh,
food though. No solid food on the run.
no solid food on the run, only gels, energy
Mm-hmm.
drink, and Coke
Okay.
at times. Yeah.
Well, they probably wanted some sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. So I felt good in the run. Um, Surprisingly, even in the second half or the second, because the run was as well two loops, just like the bike split. I felt quite good, and as always, towards the end, when you're very, very close to the finish line, you go all kinds of left, right, center,
Mm-hmm.
lots of people, lots of spectators around. You get sort of a second wave, right? Because everybody's cheering, everybody's yelling, and you're very, very close to the finish line, so you get
Wow.
more energy
Yeah, yeah, that
from the
energy
spectators. Yeah.
definitely helps and gives you wings. Although I can imagine that even in the normal marathon, two loops would be probably mentally challenging. But then after after the bike and the swim, you want to already kind of get over it and be done with it. And
Yeah.
two loops, it's probably not easy and mentally difficult. Well done on that. And I also know that you've been through the stadium, right? Wisconsin Badger Stadium. What was
Yes.
that?
Yeah. That was a nice experience. There was nobody in the stadium, only the athletes were allowed to go, and we did a, a loop. It's actually a rectangle because there is no running track inside the stadium, right? But we actually ran on the turf,
Mm-hmm.
on the touchdown area. I even touched the goalpost. Like it gave me a little bit more energy being on the
Mm-hmm.
on the field. Right? It
Wow.
was nice, and we got to do this twice because there were two loops.
Twice, okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And when you were approaching the end, did you have any idea like how far, what, where you placed, how far you are
No, no,
compared to other athletes?
I had no clue until at one point I saw Karin on the course, and she told me, you passed this many people on the bike." Right when I started the marathon, she told me how many people I passed.
Wow, that
And
must have
that,
been a very very warm thought.
yeah, it helped a lot, but you immediately have to go back and stay focused on your pace. And um, that Ironman and any long distance race, it's a lot about pacing, because if you
Mhm.
go too hard too soon, things can deteriorate very, very quickly and very, very badly. That's why on the bike is always a good idea to gauge your power output, because the power output indicates that you can sustain a pace for the entire duration
Mhm.
of the bike speed, and leave enough strength in your legs to run the marathon. You can go a lot. I could have gone for sure a lot harder on the bike, but then when I started the marathon, I would have felt completely demolished.
For
So
sure.
it's a fine line between how hard should you go on the bike to save enough energy in your legs for the run.
Right. What like in marathon, what they say is it typically starts around 32nd kilometer, the actual hard effort, and everything before that. Not like it doesn't count, but it should feel very smooth. But and this is when the actual race starts. How is that in an Ironman? when the actual race starts for you, or started for you in this particular one?
Well, I don't necessarily
Or the hardest effort, I guess, when you felt like, okay, now you need to grind. Now this is it.
I think for me at least, I cannot speak on behalf of other athletes, but for me, the marathon is like challenging from the get-go. However, if you, I expected that to happen, right? So I wasn't worried or panicking in any way. This is how it is. All I need to do is to sustain that pace, do the nutrition and the hydration, and things will happen as planned if you do that. Right? If your expectation is to run as fast as you would in a plain marathon, then this is not a good approach because it's not going to happen. Right? There are no sprints during the marathon. There are no, okay, like the next 5 kilometers, you're going to pick up the pace. And no, you just stay consistent and maintain the same heart rate.
So on the 32nd kilometer of this marathon, what did you feel?
And a kilometer 32nd? Well, that's a very good question because I had no idea literally when I was in the kilometer 32nd. All the markers were in miles. And at times I tried to convert and do the math. It didn't work out well. Like, I can never figure it out in a race. My mind is all over the place. I can't do the math. I also had a little bit of a hiccup when I started the marathon with my watch. I pressed the wrong button. And instead of switching from transition to marathon, somehow the activity got saved. So I had to stop and start a new activity. And this took a little bit of time because I did this while I was running. So when I started my watch, I was already perhaps 1.8 kilometers in the run. I didn't know exactly where I was on the course when my watch started measuring the marathon. So everything was an estimate in my mind. But I knew, sort of, I knew where I was because it was already the second.
I see.
I saw the stadium. Oh, yeah, so the stadium is here. I have about 7K now, roughly. So.
Do they have markers? Kilometer or mile markers?
No, there were no mile markers. There were only a couple of signs, like the 15-mile marker. Then there was maybe, or maybe 7 and then 15, something like that.
That is interesting. So it's not marked as well as a typical marathon.
No, but for example, in my previous races, they had every single kilometer marked.
Right. So it depends on the
actual. For whatever reason, they didn't have it here. Maybe they didn't want to demoralize the athletes. Who knows?
Wow. Well, congratulations. You crossed the finish line, right? You finished it. So what did you feel? Did you feel okay? No dizziness? Did you?
No, I felt actually good. I felt very, very strong crossing the finish line, stronger than I expected. Definitely nothing left in the tank. But because it happened many times before in many other races, some athletes just collapse after they finish the race. You are constantly moving for 11, 12, 13, 14. Some people take 15, 16 hours. And the moment they stop, all of a sudden, something happens, they like blood or whatnot, and they collapse. So they had, again, many volunteers at the finish line. So this particular volunteer, the moment I was upset, she came and grabbed me and held me pretty tight, just to make sure that if something happens, I'm not going to collapse, right? So they actually, she walked me to an area where there were chairs so I could sit down. So this is also part of, organizing a very, very good race. Even before the race, when I finish, if I'm not okay, everybody's there. They have obviously paramedics and everything that is needed for the safety of the athletes.
Amazing. So overall time was what, 11:37?
11:37, 8 seconds.
And 8 seconds, okay. What about marathon?
Oh, my marathon was 3:57.
350,
100%.
still under 4 hours, which is
Still
very,
under
very
4 hours.
impressive. Still very, very impressive. Was there any particular food that you craved when you finished? Did you want to eat
When
something?
No, I knew I was going to be hungry. I'm always hungry after a race, even after a half marathon, I'm hungry. But I knew I wasn't going to be able to eat.
Mm-hmm.
My throat is quite dry. I guess after eating the whole day gels and drinking all kinds of energy
Mm-hmm.
drinks, my stomach was like no more. I did go into the food tent because they have a tent for athletes. And when I walk in, all the smell from, I think they have pulled pork
Mm-hmm.
or what I call the smoke and everything. I had to get out of there right away. I couldn't eat anything. I went back about an hour later after things started to get together again, and then I got some food. But right after the race, I couldn't eat anything.
Mm. Yeah. Uh, Well, again, my like strong congratulations. This is such an incredible achievement. Now,
Thank you.
with all this dust that is settled, do you think that you did any mistakes? What would you do differently now? What do you think?
Well, I think um, definitely I need to train more. I need to make some changes in the way I approach the whole training. I mentioned
Mm.
I would like to work with a swim coach to help me
Mhm.
improve my swim. Um, I know that in my previous races or before my previous races, when I trained for them, I did a lot more indoor spinning over the winter,
Mhm.
um, structured workouts. I think all this would help me with the bike even more. Um, and even perhaps I need to look more at my nutrition and hydration during the race. And last but not least, for sure, more structured strength training.
Training.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm here. So you a coach for the swimming, the better nutrition plan, right? So the in addition, he wants to do more strength training. Yeah, this is all really important pieces now to kind of realize and reflect.
yeah.
Well, and if for someone who just starting and thinking to get their first Ironman, any advice that you can give?
I think one of the most important things is the consistency of the training. Uh, have a very structured week, month. Um, if you have, if you are in a relationship, you have a spouse that is supportive of you,
Mm-hmm.
then you're very lucky because you're going to be spending quite a bit of time on the bike, in the pool, out running, and so on. And you have to do that around your job. So
Right.
there will be quite,
Huge commitment.
yeah, huge commitment, and you will spend little time with your family. And if the family is supportive of you, you're good. If not, it might cause
Or
friction. I'm
maybe
very
do it.
lucky.
Maybe do it with your family then.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that my wife uh, allows me to do that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that a lot in her. She knows what it takes. She's done an Ironman
She done it
before
there.
herself, so she understands. Is very supportive. So consistency in training is very important,
Mm-hmm.
and also not to take yourself too seriously, because at the end of the day, the goal is to have fun. And if training becomes a burden, then it's either not for you or you're not
Mm-hmm.
doing the right way.
Right. So now from hearing the thoughts about what you would be doing differently, I take it that you probably are considering Ironman number 6.
Oh, for sure, I consider Ironman number 6.
When do you think your next race could
Pro-
be?
Probably, well, it will be next year, definitely
Next
not
year.
this year, but would be next year. And perhaps Ironman Ottawa. It's sort of around the corner, I can say, compared to Wisconsin.
Again,
So
single drive away.
yeah, 5 hours you're there. So it would make more sense to have a local race, but I haven't decided that. I haven't signed up.
Mm-hmm. Well, this was amazing, amazing, fantastic, very detailed conversation. I love everything what you were saying, explaining. So many details for those who don't know, and for myself as well. I never experienced it. Maybe at someday I feel like I might want to do it, put it on my bucket list, or maybe even get hooked, like with marathons. Who knows? It's different.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Well,
Very inspiring, Adrian. It's
again, it's a good idea to start with a shorter distance, just to see how it goes.
yeah,
Right? And you never know truly what we expect, unless and then when you do it, then you truly understand what it takes.
yeah. No, that's definitely it. And once you discover that you feel you're enjoying the endurance sports, I think next step it's pretty logical to try something in the multi-sport field.
Yeah.
This is very, very challenging, definitely very, very challenging, and it takes a lot of courage, a lot of commitment. So if you decide to do it, that's a huge undertaking, huge commitment, but at the same time, such a great reward, I think, and satisfaction that you feel accomplishing it, becoming an Ironman.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you again, Adrian, for coming to this podcast and having this amazing conversation with me. And I can't wait to learn and find out about your future Ironman and next events. Definitely. And again, thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Vlad.
Thanks.